Hello, everyone. My name is Arno St. Paul, and today we're going to talk about positivity. Why positivity? Because, whether we are entrepreneur, we are leader, we are, in any case, leader of our own life. And for us to really live what we hold dear in our heart, well, this vision of ours that really lights us up, right, every morning. Well, we have to dabble into more positivity. In other words, allowing ourselves to make a conscious choice whenever things aren't going maybe a little bit awry, or whenever things are putting us to full stop, or even when nothing specifically happened, but we feel negative in one way or another. We have these constant thoughts coming over and over and over again, or what I should have done, etc. Well, it might be a good moment to invite more positivity. And so let's see how we can redefine today this aspect of positivity. So what is WHOS? Well, it's all about helping you to change your world and how you can really redesign everything from a ground up. And it's led by my 30 years research with the Heartful Method. And each week we revisit a core concept of our reality. Why is it important? Because we can, if we want to, if we choose to, really live in harmony. And that's the whole business here. How can I live in a higher symphony of myself or my business? How can we bring it up to new heights and make things happen in the real world in a very pragmatic way? And sometimes I see that it is easier for my clients to really start from an experiential standpoint of what a core concept is. And positivity, I believe, is a key aspect of how we can thrive. By the way, after this presentation, you can join us in our Q&A that we will discuss positivity and how we can apply it in our daily life. So without further ado, let's look at what it means. One of the premises, the axioms behind the Heartful Method, meaning how is it that this reality works? And here we're stating, one of the things that we are stating is that this world is made of vibration only, as science suggests and proves. And if that is the case, therefore, everything is about resonance. And what resonance implies is that, therefore, each and every vibration has a reflection on a mirror, so to speak, where it is able to enter in resonance or dissonance with each other and explore another aspect of itself. So, in other words, what that means is that whichever thought, emotion, action you are taking will always have a reflection in the mirror of your reality, whether through individuals, through other thoughts inside you, through situations. And in order for you to learn, to experience more of yourself in many different ways. In this case, we're going to use this understanding and this change of paradigm to explore what would it mean to have more positivity in our life, shall we? First step, well, let's look at the work that Dr. David Hawkins did about levels of consciousness. And what that gentleman did was to measure the frequency of different emotions that are populating our lives, whether it is shame, apathy, courage, trust, love, gratitude. And what we see here is a very interesting classification showing, as common sense would think, that all the primary emotions connected with fear would be grief, apathy, guilt, shame, etc., are at the bottom of the pile. And others like peace, joy, gratitude are at the top. Question is, across our day, hour, year, lifetime, or even minute, which emotion or range of emotion are we actually experiencing? Across the past month or the past week, you've been more in trust or more in grief? Have you been more in anger or in understanding? That leads, obviously, as you know, it seems quite common sense as well, that if I am in understanding, I will have an easier experience than if I am in anger across a certain period of time. And so that also indicates that we have a choice, meaning that we can always choose to lead our experience, our life, our conversation or conversations with a certain intention related to what level of frequency, or in this case, emotion, I want to abide with and have my experience with, right? And hence, this classification is interesting because it gives us a good guidance on what we should look into. What is our choice? So, one assumption we're making here is that we have a mind talk and a heart talk. The mind talk usually, because of its own identification to itself, is going to be whether neutral or negative, limiting, because it is looking at segregating everything it looks at, is judging, etc. It will tend to foster emotions that are below the 200 level. And so in the mind or in the lower emotion levels, we'll have pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Now, this tends to create constraints in whichever exchange you have, whether these are with another individual or it is within yourself. Anytime that you feel one of these emotions I just quoted here now, then automatically you are in that wheel of the mind that is creating a downward spiral. On the other side of the spectrum is the heart talk, the positive and expansive one, that is whether neutral or goes above this 200 level and is looking at always expressing the best it can be. Again, whether towards others in any conversation or within myself, same thing. So what is it that we want to choose? It's up to us. So the mind talk, as I mentioned earlier, if we have two people talking at the same level, or again, it could be you here and you talking to yourself, right? Because this is what we kind of do most of the time. Well, we will create a vicious cycle, which will in turn bring up negative patterns that will continue constraining more and more and more our experience and the series of events that are coming out of it. The other way of looking at it is, well, we have on our day-to-day, the possibility whether to have only mind talk or only heart talk, or maybe we even have a mix of both. So I guess this chart here is here to help us assess which kind of talk we have with ourselves, with the others. In which situation am I having more of a heart talk or more of a mind talk? Because if I am more in a mind talk related to a specific situation or specific type of topic, then it shows that I am currently in a process of identification and projection. And therefore, I need to take a pause and look into it further, which, by the way, you can reach out to us and we can help you with that. If you are in a heart talk, then everything is fine because you're expanding your reach. You are opening up to new potentials. And therefore, that's what will happen. So, what if we have an individual that is in a mind talk and another individual that is in a heart talk, right? Would that be possible? Well, yes, potentially, as long as the person that is in the heart talk is actually strong and present in her or him or her conversation, and will therefore gradually entrain the person that is more in the mind talk at first. This will take time, but it is possible. It takes a strong intention, and gradually that the other person will start to follow the lead of the heart talk. Now, you know that life is made of patterns, right? And this is the last slide that I want to go through with you. So life is made of patterns. Some are cohesive and harmonious, and some are not that much. They are a bit more chaotic. Let's say, in other words, we could say that some are expansive and some are constraining, limiting. In other words, some are positive, some are negative. Well, the thing is, each moment we have to make a choice. In other words, whenever a pattern shows up to me, I have the choice of giving it the attention and the intention. So giving the intention that will help me to select which part of that pattern I want to focus on and foster. So whether I want more harmony or more chaos, whether I want more positive and expansion or more limitation and negativity, I will, therefore, when I do that, make that choice, I will actually select which individual or which version of me I want to experience, whether it is the harmonious individual with the harmonious talk or heart talk, or the more negative one or chaotic one. And that will have a direct impact on the outcome I am going to experience. So each moment is an opportunity for me to choose whether expansion or limitation, positive or negative, higher level of emotion or lower level. The question is, how do I do that? Well, that would be the topic of another conversation that we could have. But basically, I'm going to share with you something. In order for you to choose a new harmonious life pattern or a new fear-based life pattern, you have a magic tool that unfortunately I didn't bring up to my slides. It's called a pause button. You have it, we all have it, and we can press on it, click on it, tap on it, and there ask ourselves the question, who do we want to be now? And with that, I'm gonna read this poem about positivity. Invite you to close your eyes and let's go for a ride. Out of all that is, a choice. Limiting or expanding. Fear or love. Negative or positive. Ride the wave that lifts I in a never-ending spiral of goodness. Stride with faith. Trust your steps. Choose with discernment the path to eternal growth. Now is the time to rebirth in your positive I. So this is an excerpt from my book, I is Born, that you can find on tapwhat.com/I. And in that poem, you can see the balance between one and the other, these choices we have to make at every single time. And that aspect, whether we want to act from fear or choose from fear or from love. Again, expansion or limitation, negative or positive. This is really the question that we, as entrepreneurs, as leaders of our lives, we should really ask ourselves every single time. Now, if you want to join us, please scan this QR code or key in tapwhat.com/who's free, and we'll be super happy to have you. Bye.